When actors are offered roles late in their careers, they often describe them as pleasant rewards, opportunities to relax into familiar rhythms. David Suchet never saw acting that way. For him, every role was still a challenge, a discipline, and a responsibility. He spoke often about the joy of studying a script, working closely with fellow actors, and shaping characters with care. To audiences, Suchet appeared calm, polite, and immaculately composed. He was the perfect gentleman, the actor who never raised his voice and never chased attention. But behind that quiet exterior was a man defined by absolute precision. Suchet was kind, but he was not soft. He was respectful, but he did not tolerate disorder. In an industry built on compromise, he refused to bend when the integrity of the work was at stake. For more than 2 decades, viewers watched him embody Hercule Poirot with such control that it seemed effortless. Yet that control was the result of relentless preparation. Suchet noticed everything. If a line was altered, he caught it instantly. If a gesture disrupted the meaning of a scene, he challenged it. If a colleague arrived unprepared, he addressed it with a calm firmness that often cut deeper than anger. This was never about ego. It was about standards. And standards, especially high ones, create friction. Over the course of his career, Suchet earned admiration from many and quiet resentment from a few. Those tensions were not petty feuds. They were clashes of philosophy, professionalism, and artistic belief. When Suchet believed someone had crossed a line, he did not forget. To understand those conflicts, it is essential to understand the man himself. David Suchet was born in London in 1946 into a household shaped by discipline and creativity. His father was a respected doctor, his mother an artist. Excellence was expected, not requested. As a child, Suchet was observant and methodical. Acting was never a passing interest. By his late teens, it had become a commitment. He trained at the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Art, one of the most demanding institutions in Britain. There, he learned that preparation mattered more than comfort, and that discipline was the foundation of freedom on stage. His time with the Royal Shakespeare Company solidified that belief. The RSC demanded textual accuracy, emotional control, and consistency. Suchet thrived in that environment. He developed a reputation as an actor who never arrived unprepared and never accepted mediocrity. Directors trusted him. Colleagues respected him. But his precision also created tension with performers who valued spontaneity over structure. That tension followed him into the role that would define his life: Hercule Poirot. Beginning in 1989, Suchet committed himself to portraying Poirot exactly as Agatha Christie wrote him. He studied her notes obsessively. He built a detailed psychological and physical profile of the character. Every movement, vocal inflection, and behavioral habit was deliberate. He refused to let Poirot drift into parody or convenience. The result was the most definitive portrayal in television history. But that commitment also placed him at odds with those who believed interpretation should be flexible. The rivalries that followed were rooted in that single principle. Suchet believed accuracy was respect. The first major conflict came not from a director or actor, but from a critic. A.N. Wilson was a prominent writer whose opinions carried weight. During the height of Suchet's success as Poirot, Wilson publicly criticized his performance as too rigid and severe. He argued that Poirot should be lighter, more playful and charming. For Suchet, this criticism cut deeply. He had spent years constructing a portrayal grounded entirely in Christie's writing. To him, precision was not stubbornness. It was loyalty. Wilson's dismissal felt careless, as though decades of research and discipline had been brushed aside. Suchet did not respond publicly. He rarely did. But colleagues noticed that the criticism lingered. Wilson continued making remarks over the years, and each comment widened the divide. Suchet never attacked him in return, but silence did not mean acceptance. For a man who valued care above all else, Wilson's tone represented everything he opposed. Professionally, Suchet remained untouched. Personally, Wilson became one of the few individuals Suchet genuinely disliked engaging with. Another clash emerged with director Jonathan Lynn. Lynn was known for speed and momentum. He valued efficiency and quick decisions, an approach that served him well in comedy. Suchet, by contrast, believed nothing should move forward until every detail aligned. Their philosophies collided immediately. Lin pushed for faster takes. Suchet pushed for deeper preparation. What began as irritation grew into tension when Lin requested spontaneity in performance. Suchet refused to alter carefully planned choices without justification. To Lin, this was stubbornness. To Suchet, it was professionalism. Rehearsals became strained. Conversations sharpened. Silence grew heavy. After the project ended, the two never worked together again. They respected each other's talent, but their values were incompatible. For Suchet, speed without substance was unacceptable. A rushed performance, in his view, was worse than a failed one. A quieter but deeply symbolic conflict followed with Kenneth Branagh. When Branagh released his cinematic version of Poirot in 2017, he reimagined the character with emotional intensity and physical boldness. Suchet had spent 25 years preserving Poirot as Christie wrote him. Branagh reinvented him. Suchet never publicly criticized the performance, but when asked about it, he declined to comment, stating he had not seen the film. For those who knew him, the message was clear. This was not avoidance. It was disapproval. Branagh respected Suchet's legacy but chose not to follow it. Two interpretations now existed side by side, and the contrast created a silent divide. Suchet saw Poirot as fixed and precise. Branagh saw him as flexible and modern. Neither vision could replace the other, but the tension was undeniable. Within the Royal Shakespeare Company, Suchet's most direct artistic clash occurred with Anthony Sher. Sher was instinctive, expressive, and unpredictable. He embraced risk and experimentation. Suchet was analytical, structured, and methodical. When Sher altered pacing or rhythm in rehearsal, Suchet viewed it as disruption. When Suchet held firmly to structure, Sher saw limitation. During one production, a disagreement over pacing escalated into a prolonged debate in front of cast and crew. Neither man yielded. From that point forward, their relationship cooled. They remained polite but distant. Their careers flourished separately, but the tension never fully disappeared. For Suchet, unpredictability threatened clarity. Discipline was non-negotiable. The most serious conflict of Suchet's career came with director Edward Bennett during the early years of Poirot. Bennett prioritized television efficiency and accessibility. Suchet prioritized accuracy above all else. From the beginning, disagreements emerged over tone, pacing, and character behavior. Bennett encouraged broader appeal. Suchet refused to dilute Christie's vision. Arguments over minor details halted production repeatedly. A tilt of the head, a vocal inflection, a pause. To Bennett, these were adjustments. To Suchet, they were violations. The breaking point came during a key scene when Bennett requested a tonal shift. Suchet believed it contradicted Poirot's psychology. The debate stretched far longer than planned, and the working relationship changed permanently. Bennett eventually stepped away from the series. Suchet's authority over Poirot became absolute. David Suchet built his career on preparation, discipline, and loyalty to the written word. His conflicts were never personal. They were philosophical. He believed standards mattered. When others pushed for shortcuts, he resisted. When improvisation threatened structure, he pushed back. He did not aim to please everyone. He aimed to honor the work. That commitment made him one of the most respected actors of his generation. And when Poirot ended after 25 years, his legacy was undeniable. Precision, not spectacle, made his performance immortal. If you love uncovering the hidden stories behind classic Hollywood legends, subscribe to Classic Hollywood Feuds.